Welcome back to Hot Water Wrestling, everybody. Just chiming in real quick to share some thoughts. First things first, the 900th episode of Raw. What? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, not much of a 900th episode, was it? It seemed like a lot of people were crammed on the show. I didn't really feel like many of the segments had any time to breathe. It wasn't disastrously horrible. I mean, let's think back to the whole Hornswoggle era we just got out of, thank God, and how awful those shows were. It certainly wasn't as bad as a 3-hour special where the viewer's choice 3-hour special, The Night Nexus Invaded. That was an atrocious episode. The 900th episode of Raw was okay. It could have been better. In 100 days, we're going to have the 1000th episode, and that should mean more. It seems to me that every time WWE does one of these special things, well, not every time, but a lot of the times when they do one of these special things, they seem to drop the ball. I mean, when they did that Viewer's Choice episode this summer, I was sitting around with my family. None of them would watch wrestling in a long time. And I happened to be somewhere with all of them. And it happened in Miami. And I could have gone. And I felt really bad that I didn't go. Obviously, I had other obligations. After I saw the show, I was just like, whew, thank God, I didn't sacrifice anything to make it to that show because it was atrocious. And I was so embarrassed sitting around with my family as the show was unfolding, and they're like, you watch this crap? And I was just like trying to explain that it's not always as bad. Embarrassing. But the 900th episode wasn't so bad, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty lackluster. I would expect more out of a 900th episode. I've heard rumors that WWE might unify all the titles, and they might end the SmackDown brand, and they might trying to find that C word. What's the word I'm looking for? Consolidate their rosters. That they might actually just go with one show. I think that's a really good idea. I've said in a lot of my videos that I think that the less is more approach would be better. I know I've heard a lot of YouTubers on here say that 13 pay-per-views is too much. I couldn't agree more. 8 pay-per-views would be more like it probably. And then have some more exciting television, have some titles actually change hands on television, have some meaningful events and matches on television as well. I mean, God forbid, don't do it like TNA. Don't give us a B-lister awful pay-per-view that doesn't even look like TNA, and then come back on TV the next night and give everything away for free. Let's take a second and talk about that. Ever since Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff came into TNA, it seems like when they go on their pay-per-views, that it's a whole different company. I'm like, who are these people? It doesn't even feel like TNA. It doesn't unfold like TNA. It doesn't feel like TNA at all. Back in 2009, for example, before Hogan and Bischoff came, when TNA had a pay-per-view, it was seamless. It just rolled right in, and the pay-per-view was very exciting, and you got your money's worth. I don't feel like I get my money's worth at all with a TNA pay-per-view these days. In fact, I feel like I'm watching a whole different company, like someone stole the satellite and started broadcasting this crappy wrestling company. Anyways, back to WWE consolidating their roster. I think it's a good idea. I don't think that every wrestler should be on TV every week. I've said this before, like, we'll take Randy Orton as an example. Maybe there's like a 3-week period where Randy Orton's doing a feud and he's got a good storyline and he's on TV, but then maybe he's gone for a couple of weeks. And so when he comes back, it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, back in the 80s, and I know things are a lot different, but back in the 80s, that's what would happen. Every superstar wasn't on TV every week. until there was some mystery there. Now I know we've got the internet, we've got the dirt sheets, and it's harder to keep mystery in wrestling these days, and I respect that. But they could be doing more. I think it's a really good idea. I really do. I think that Monday Night Raw should go back to TV 14. It shouldn't be PG. Like I said a million times, most young kids, are asleep during Raw, or they have to go to bed at 10 o'clock or whatever. They should do a show on Saturday morning or maybe even Friday night that is like a Superstars. In fact, Superstars would suffice just fine if they just kept Superstars and kept that PG. So I just wanted to know what you guys thought of that, and if WWE were to consolidate their roster, what you would think of that. I do think it's a good idea. This whole NXT, oh my God. NXT going all women's now, that seems to be their death sentence. Not because I'm prejudiced against women's wrestling, but I am prejudiced against women's WWE women's wrestling. Women's wrestling in the WWE hasn't been crap for a very, very, very long time, since the days of China, since the days of Lita. And even then it wasn't that great, but at least then they had a candle to hold to the male superstars. But these days the divas are just a joke. I mean, they're just either eye candy, or I don't even know half their names. I don't even know what they do. I don't even know their finishing moves. I think Maryse is gorgeous, and Kelly, and I love watching Beth Phoenix. I think she's a great talent. It's a shame that she's in this era. It would have been awesome to see her go up against Lita or Chyna or Trish Stratus, But I guess they've signed this giant Amazon woman recently, so I forget her name, Isis, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. It should be interesting to see how that works out. But an all-women's NXT, I guess I can take that one off the DVR. Someone convinced me to watch that. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, and I think I'm going to make another video here soon. I have something I want to talk about. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you next time. I screwed that up, didn't I? I will see you next time on Hot Water Wrestling.